Hey, my friend, Dr. Shola, how are you today?
Hello, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as always. I just want to thank you again for showing up for our podcast, Opening Unashamed. I am Alisha Fuller and my co-host, Dr. Shola. We have been having a blast. We're talking about friendship and building
Yes.
healthy relationships.
Yes.
I was just talking to you a few minutes ago, and I wanted to share with you that I have a few friends that have called me about our few podcast episodes about friendship.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
hopefully those who are listening to us now will go back and check out episode 10 and 11. But
Yes.
one of my friends said, hey, I have been enjoying this. And I really like it how Dr. Shola talked about truth, about trustworthiness, and about triumphs. And there were different examples that she heard. And she, questioned me about some of the things that I shared that was very open and
Yes.
transparent
Mm-hmm.
about sometimes we have friends that we can't seem to get rid of. We love them. We may not talk a lot to them. So I put them in that family zone. And so that's what she wanted to know more about. Like, what do you
Okay.
mean you put them in a family zone?
Lizon.
Who is that you're talking about? And I said, no, we're not giving names. I said,
No.
but what I know is that I've been knowing them so long that I love them. But
Yes.
we don't talk that much, and neither do they honestly represent many individuals that we're going to talk about today from your book. So I just want to kind of open that up. Dr. Shola has an amazing book called Free to Be. Okay, Free to Be. That's my papers in here with notes. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of her topics in her book about friendship, about relationships. One of the things you said in your book is about that friendship is literally building relationship. It's the same as if you were a couple being married,
Yes.
taking the time to really do that. So I want to just kind of open up a little bit about where you'd like to start. Free to be relationally enriched. And I'm on page 140, and 140 talks a little bit about those different individuals that's in our lives. And it starts out about the
Mm-hmm.
refreshers. So I'd like to
Yes.
hear you, you wrote this. I want to hear a little bit about how you came about with talking about the refreshers, and those other individuals. I think the reflectors as well. Okay. So talk to
Refreshers,
me.
refiners, reflectors,
Uh-huh.
reducers, and rejectors.
And rejectors. So talk to me a little bit about that. How did
Okay.
this come about? And then share with me a few examples.
Okay. So this was not my original work, and I quoted him in the book, Dan Black on leadership. He talked about grades of relationships. So sometimes when I put them grade A, B, C, D, E. The A grade, of course, those are the ones on the top. They're A grade relationships. And refreshers are people who inspire your dreams and energize your talents. So these are people there are some people who you spend 3 minutes with them and you've gotten 20 business ideas, three three ways to homeschool your kids, um, you know, 5 recipes. And there's some people like that. They are just you tell them A and they've given you A to Z, and they are so, and not from a and importantly, not from a point of I know better than you or let me
Absolutely.
tell you. No, it's just these are people, they are refreshers. So anything that's brought into contact with them, they refresh it, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like the thing is bad, but they that's why the Dan Black says they inspire your dream and energize your talents.
Yes.
Let's face it, we all want to be around those kind of people, but more importantly, we want to be that kind of person.
That's good. That's
I
good.
think, like, personally, I think I'm a refresher.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when people get on, like, because I'm a coach, and even when people get on these free calls with me, whether they sign up with me or not, they're still left with something that, has inspired them in some way or form,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I like to say that I am. People have told me that I am. So, I'm little story. Today, actually, so I'm still kind of dressed up and all of that. I was summoned by a teenage girl.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
My daughter came to me and says, my friend wants to meet you. I'm like, a 17-year-old girl wants to meet me? Like, why? So she's like, Mom, come have lunch with us. My friend wants to meet you. I'm like, why does your friend want to meet me? See, my daughter says to me, because you're so cool. I'm like, how does she know I'm cool? She's like, how? And then she looks at me like, well, how do you think? I'm like, okay. So the girl, I met this wonderful child, and she was almost starstruck. And our conversation was long, but then afterwards she said to me, oh, wow, you've given me a new way to think.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, you know, this is what I'm about. You know, 30-minute lunch, because you know it's in between classes, so they come out and then they have to go back. And then I'm thinking, they're like, we have to go. I'm like, oh, this is very good. They're very responsible. They're not trying to cut class. But she said, you've given me a new way to think.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here just talking and just like, you know, you can do it like this and blah, blah. And then my daughter is smiling proudly at me as if she's the mom. And I'm
because this is my mama. What are you talking about? My mama is cool.
Apparently, right? Yes. Yeah. So I love being a refresher.
Yes. I was reading Refresher, and there was a scripture that the Lord tied to it for me, was Hebrews 10:24 and 25. And it says, and let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. And a lot of times when I'm talking with you, you know, there are refreshers. I mean, we hear something, we act on it. This podcast was a refreshing moment. It was a moment that you said, hey, you've been talking about doing this podcast. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. You know, and so I was refreshed. I was taken, you know, taken to this other space of just having another level of breath, to be honest. Just, it was breathtaking to say, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing it. You know, I'm encouraged to do it.
We're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it, you know. And so this refresher, so they inspire dreams. Let's talk about the refiner, because I know you said you were a refresher, but you know you see yourself as a refiner too, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yes, indeed. So refiners, now, just as good as refreshers, they sharpen your ideas and clarify your vision. So a refresher will be like, go out there, dream big, you can do it. And you're like, ooh. A refiner helps you fine tune your ideas. Like, okay, yes, you have this big idea. Let's make it small and let's make it into something doable. A refiner will help you get clear, you know, on what it is you want to do, while still holding on to the dream that the refresher has made pop out of your mind. You know, and a refiner can also help you sort of operationalize your dream. So, you know, it's great to have passion and dreams, but it's good. It's also good, if not better, to be able to say, okay, this dream you have of writing a book, okay, write one page every day and show it to me, you know? So you have the refresher telling you, yes, you can write, you can speak, you can, and you're all out there, but your refiner is, you know, bringing you clarity. And I think by nature of our profession, coaches are refiners in a lot of ways. And anybody with a big dream needs a refresher and needs a refiner.
Yes, absolutely. Because even as a coach and as a consultant, I get an opportunity to help people organize and create systems. You know, even if they are the writers, it's like, hey, did you think about this, this, and this? How about starting with this step? You know, and then they take it and they look at it, they run with it. So I know that I'm a refiner as well. Many times people say I'm that agitator, I'm that reformer. There's different words with different, you know, personality assessments. But what I do know is being able to coach people through the process, holding their hand sometimes. So sometimes I'm a hand holder. Some people don't like to be hand holders. Okay. I like to hold hands sometimes because I want to see you. I want to hold you accountable for what you said you were going to do. And I don't make you. Remember, refiners, iron sharpens iron. That is the goal. Okay. So, you know, while people are on here listening, we want to make sure we encourage them as refreshers and as refiners that regardless, We can't make anybody do anything, but definitely these are characters that automatically, they're like innate. They are.
Yes.
They're innate for many of us. And that's why when we start talking, we say that we enjoy one another because things just start happening, words start coming out, and we get an opportunity to think about something differently than what we were thinking before we
Yes.
came together. And I have
Yes.
a homie like that. He does that. He's a refiner. He comes big ideas, but then he says, "Okay, what are you going to do with this? Okay, here's what I'm asking you to do." Da, 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 da. And I'd be just taking notes because
Yes.
I know when I'm talking to individuals, and that's why I want to encourage people, whoever's listening to this, that when you can identify these type of friends in your life, you
Yes.
know how to come to the table. You know
Yes.
to come to the table with a journal. You know to come to a
Mhm.
table with a pen. You know that if you talk to Dr. Shola, she's going to start talking to you and challenging you about authorship or about some form of coaching. What's next? If you come to Alisha, I'm going to be saying the same thing. So I come with a pen. I come ready. So let's look at the reflector right quick. They
Yes.
mirror your energy,
Mm-hmm.
neither adding nor subtracting from it. That's
Yes.
grade C. That's what you labeled it. Oh, that's what the author, I have to remember
Mhm.
the person who actually is assisting you with this information.
I know. Yes.
So let's hear
Dan Black
about
of
C.
leadership. So they're like you. They're on the same journey as you. Maybe similar communities, same backgrounds. They I think these people like this are also important. At the
Yes.
very least, even if it's to convince you that you're not crazy.
That's good. That's
Because
good.
there are a lot of people don't have any reflectors, so they give up because there's nobody that's looking like them on the same
Mm-hmm.
journey. And
Mm-hmm.
those people are important because very likely these will be part of these are the people that you'll be in the same community with. When you hear the words representation matters, people are looking for reflectors.
Yes, yes, yes. That's good. Mm-hmm.
So reflectors make you realize you're not the crazy one. And I think the challenge is to make sure that your reflectors are authentic, that they're
Mm-hmm.
actually real. They're not just, how do you call it? People that are trying to like just take from you, but
Right.
they actually are reflectors. And if you are not living an authentic life, your reflectors will also not be authentic because they
Those
may
are the
just
ones you'll
reflect.
attract.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And many
Mm-hmm.
times your reflectors can be refiners and refreshers.
Yes.
They can
Mm-hmm.
step into that role for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good to have people like that around you.
Yeah.
Um, and if you can find them all, those three in one person, hey, great. But I think for me, the challenge I would like to put out to people is
Mm-hmm.
that when it comes to your relationships, being purposeful about surrounding yourself with reflectors, refiners, and refreshers of quality, and you
Absolutely.
being the same to the people around you. You know, you want to be, we reap what we sow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if
Yeah.
you're sowing the bad grades of relationships, don't suddenly expect that, you're suddenly going to be surrounded with refiners and refreshers. Why? God is not unjust.
Yes, yes, yes. This is the reciprocating, right? Reciprocal.
Yep,
We talked about that
yep,
last time.
yep.
Yes. Okay. All right. So we have moved into we have the refreshers, we have the refiners, and we have the
Refiners.
reflectors. And
Yes.
so we're hoping that as people listen to this, they are able to see themselves in one of these. And if
Yes.
you are not, then we have two others we're getting ready to talk about. But we really want you to be honest with yourself. That's what this
Mm-hmm.
friendship thing and building relationship is all about. If you are
Yes.
making an effort to network with people and partner with people and meet people, then you're able to identify who you are. If you're able to take a look at this and think about what we're talking about today. But we definitely want to be a reflection, regardless
Yes.
if we're the refiner, we're the refreshers. We want to be a reflection of who Christ is, first of all.
Yes.
And so if we're able to do that, then
Yes.
we're able to show ourselves friendly. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this next one. The reducer.
Ooh.
The reducer. You got it as a grade D.
Yes. It should probably be a grade F, but they reduce your vision and efforts to the level of their comfort zone. So these are people who can never see you for anything bigger than the moment or what they see you as, whatever is their comfort zone. So I'm going to say this, that it's not, okay, I was about to say it's not their fault, but sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But these are people who typically live they live constricted lives in their comfort zone. So anything you bring to them is not going to, these are people that they almost can't encourage you out of your own comfort zone because that's where they live. When you come up with big dreams and goals, they first want to say, be realistic, be careful. Oh, you say, I want to write a book. Why don't you just write a small PDF and give it to your classmates? They reduce your vision to the level of their comfort zone. And sometimes they may feel they're trying to save you from disappointment, So again, it's not always purposeful. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just from who they are. People that always focus, who are fear-driven, focus always on the potential bad outcomes of a thing, rather than focusing on, this could be great. It's always like, this bad thing could happen if you do this, if you do this. Now, the caveat here is that not everyone who pokes holes in your dream is a reducer. Absolutely. There are some people who would tell you, even refiners, refreshers would tell you, okay, this thing you want to do, have you considered the pros and cons? Okay, you want to take all the money out of your 401k and start a business. Are you sure this is what you should do? You've taken 10 years to gather this 401k. Are you sure you want to take it all out now? What's going to happen in the future? Have you considered? So people who question you and force you to think about different ramifications are not always reducers.
Absolutely, because they could still be refiners. Refiners are absolutely.
Yes, they could still be. So don't throw everyone out that asks you a question about what you're trying to do. Don't just put them into the category, well, you don't understand my dream. No, nuance is important. You have to, you have to be able to know the person's heart, right?
Right,
and
absolutely.
If someone who has your best interest at heart, or somebody who is, they're always in your corner. You have a track record. Another person is asking you, look, let's sit down. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? Doesn't mean, you're a naysayer, leave me alone. No.
Yeah, it's that friendship piece. It's that, helping you to, like you said, the pros and the cons, and then shining this light, maybe in a different way. So I understand when you say as a reducer, sometimes reducers come to the table and really it's their belief systems, right? Limited. You talked a little bit about fear, and they may lack this self-confidence. When you come to the table with all this confidence and you're excited about what you're getting ready to do, and all they know is where they live. All they know is they've not been successful. All they know is there's been rejection and all these other things.
Exactly.
That's why it's important for us to walk through healing, because sometimes we will miss our opportunity to grow, to receive the promise. Somebody may come in your corner. I have a homie. He would come, he start talking, I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my God, this is overwhelming to me. But once I step back and I sit down and I write out everything that he said, I understood where he was coming from. And let me be clear, it doesn't always feel good when people are sharing this information with you and you're trying to move out of your limited space. So sometimes reducers are challenged. They're challenged by the refiner, or they're challenged by the reflectors, or they're challenged by the refreshers. They're challenged by true friendship.
Yes.
Okay, because they may not have been in relationships that were healthy, that people were pushing them to the next level and encouraging them to come out of their comfort zone.
Yep.
One of the scriptures that came to mind was 1 Corinthians 15 and 13. It says, do not be deceived by bad company. Okay, because it can ruin good morals. So sometimes, hey, again, reducers are not always bad, and sometimes they don't even know what they're going through or how they are affecting this relationship based on what they say. But you, being the person who's the dreamer, who's encouraged, who wants to move forward, who has this confidence, you still must be careful with the company that you keep. Okay? You must be. Because sometimes them dreams start being snatched away real quick and you're trying to figure out why. Because you start trusting folk that God didn't even tell you to tell the dream to. Joseph got excited. Joseph didn't know what was going on. Joseph, like, I'm just getting all these dreams. I'm hearing from God. I'm not sure who I'm hearing from, but let me tell my brothers what's going on. And this is what's happening.